Italy has been known for their culture, history, their fashion. We come to fashion, I can see your great jacket. You talk about fashion, and I had to match up, But coming on, Italy been renowned for its rich culture and history. So how Italian university incorporate in their studying style, in their courses, and overall, development of a student when they go to Italy.
The first thing is, but do I need to speak Italian? The first question is this, and this is a valid question because in the collective consciousness that Europe is not easy play because of the language barrier, etc. So the first answer we say it's no, because
Hi, I'm Saurabh, founder and CEO of University Living. We are a global student housing managed marketplace, and welcome to my podcast, Living Pod. Today, let me welcome you a very special guest and a very interesting journey through Italian education system. Joining me is Arkaprabha Biswas.
Thank you,
Yes,
Saurabh.
I got it right.
Yes,
Yes,
you got it right. It's not easy. It's not easy apart from any Bengalis, I must believe. But yeah, but good attempt, and
I got it right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got it right.
Yeah.
And thanks for hosting me. Thanks for hosting the team. I feel amazing here to see the space and everything. We are meeting first time, by the way,
Yes.
right? So we have been speaking for long. It feels like we know each other for long, but virtually only. So this is the first time I am seeing. So thank you again.
Thank you for coming and coming all the way. I hope you had a decent travel.
Yeah,
You know,
perfect.
I'm fortunate that we have an office on an expressway which takes 20 minutes from South Delhi.
Yeah.
So thank you for
It
coming
was
over.
smooth.
And let me tell you a bit about Arka, right? Or Arkos.
Arko.
Arka.
Yeah,
Arko.
Arko.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Arko
it
is
would be better, yeah.
So talking about Arko, so he been instrumental in setting up Italian education system in India. He been managing Uni-Italia, which is basically a center for promotion of higher education, which promotes diplomatic tie-up between Italy and India through education.
Yeah.
So, rather than me reading out or try to have a pseudo introduction, I would like you to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
So please go ahead.
Yeah, that would be better. I mean, this is a question that we need to clarify to everybody. So Uni-Italia is basically the association for promotion of Italian education, higher education abroad, which was founded by the Italian Ministry of University and Research. We call it MUR, M-U-A-R, Ministry of University and Research. Ministry of External Affairs, we call it Farnesina, Ministry of Internal Affairs and Cooperation. So these are the three ministries. Together, they thought of extending the Italian ecosystem further to other parts of the world. So our India office started not long back, around 8 years back. Then COVID happened, of course, and like everybody else, things were not very easy when it comes to internalization. It was not easy either for internal movement or mobility either. So right now we have 3 centers inside the diplomatic enclaves because we come directly under the diplomatic mission. So I am located in the Delhi center, which is at the Embassy of Italy in Delhi. We have other 2 centers in 2 respective consulates in Bangalore and Mumbai. So primarily we work for promotion of Italian higher education, and by promotion I mean everything, the whole ecosystem. It includes student mobility, it includes exchange programs, it includes overall, I would say, a bilateral academic mission, which we call it, quote unquote, to put it that way. So Uni-Italia is the wing to be on the field for the diplomatic mission, because to be on the campus, to be here, for example, so to get in touch on a regular basis with the people, to make the journey more feasible, flexible, easy, smooth, whatever you call it. So that's the sole idea. Of course, with gradually this conversation will definitely touch upon other aspects of it, but yeah, that is the crux of the whole matter.
So to sum it up, basically to build and strengthen the overall Italian education ecosystem.
Yes.
Representing or probably fostering lots of Italian universities in India.
Yes.
It's only in India or India subcontinent?
No, so it is only India. To some extent, we take part in certain activities in Nepal as well. But India and Nepal, and Uni-Italia centers are across other parts as well. So in Southeast Asia there are, say for example in Jakarta, Indonesia. Then we have a couple of in other places like Morocco, and then we have in Colombia as well. So yeah, that's more or less a diagram of demography, I would say.
Amazing. And I found myself very blessed and fortunate, to meet so many learned people and from all across the globe, representing different universities, different countries, different cities. And if you see, already have my pen and paper, because it's been 13 years I've been into this space, and every interaction, every podcast, every meeting there's so much to take away. So I don't know about my audience, but I'm gonna enjoy, because for me, I will be learning new things. I've been learning probably a bit of my, as I call it, half knowledge dangerous. So I will be all rookie. And even if I know few things, it's amazing and a good opportunity for me to revise and ensure that my understanding and exactly how Uni-Italia, how Italian education system, how universities of Italy is promoting and growing in India, and probably adding value for Indian education system and to the people and students of India. So why Italy? If let's say I'm in my probably in my 11th or in my first year, should I consider Italy for undergrad courses, or should I consider ourselves for postgrad, or if I keep it simple, why Italy?
Okay, Saurabh, to answer this, I don't personally prefer this question to keep it from a perspective of promoting Italy here, because the people, the students you are talking about, they are products of our society, right? Just like I was at certain point of time, you were at certain point of time. So it is also a narrative that is there, and that has nothing to do with, or I don't have anything against it, but the narrative is primarily English speaking narrative. So study abroad is almost synonymous to English speaking, and that's natural. I do not blame that. So that automatically brings to the picture few nations, and then if you, so I would say there is it's almost like a pyramid structure, let's say. So on top of that, so it's not only English speaking countries, but the countries with whom we have long association with, let's say the United Kingdom, because our familiarity with the South Asian countries and Indian association with UK is long. It goes back to 200-300 years, I would say, because even middle of the 18th century, people used to travel to London to study, to research, etc. So it has been a part and parcel of the historically part and parcel of the whole journey, and you cannot deny a genetic history of a nation. You cannot deny a genetic history of a society. So that way it's okay, but gradually it opened up to English speaking nations which are beyond the UK and the US. So say for example Australia, Canada, New Zealand, these places. However, this question I often face when I go to schools, specifically schools, I would say, and also parents. For schools, parents play a huge role in terms of, I don't know how much in the final decision making, but at least in terms of gathering informations and trying to get things.
I mean, I believe parents are still influencing it.
Yeah, a lot.
They're still an influencer, but there might be a mild influencer, but still influencer.
Yeah, it's still there. I mean, it's not, you won't face or see a student in school coming all by themselves. Very rare. If it's not a school fair, it's a school fair, that's a different story, because that's their home ground, let's say. Otherwise you won't, and that's natural. I do not see myself in a different picture, to be honest with my parents. So now the question is, the English language speaking, this thing they always ask. So we have a desk, let's say for example, very colorful, nice desk. The country we do not need any introduction to any audience in the world, but they come and say the first thing is, but do I need to speak Italian? The first question, this is this, and that's a valid question, because in the collective consciousness that Europe is not easy play because the language barrier, because of the language barrier, etc. So the first answer we say it's no, because whatever we are speaking today, I am promoting, or I am standing for, or I am representing here. I am talking about all taught in English, and that's the primary fundamental idea which needs to be rebuilt, not rebuilt, rather built. This narrative has to be clear that English speaking is also equivalent to Italy, is also equivalent to Europe. It's not that you will be not part of the.
You're saying Indian student,
Yeah.
Can study in all the universities in Italy, and they don't need to have to learn Italian, or they need to
I'm
speak
telling
it.
you, telling you how the thing is. Say, for example, just to give you an idea, for Italy, let's say there are 10 universities, okay? So, and in 10 universities, let's say there are 30 courses, 30, okay? And among them, 15 probably are in Italian, 15 are in English. But the interesting stat is that among these 15 English taught courses also, you will find students from Italy. So why so? If it's not, so what I mean to say is, it's not a compromised scenario that okay, now we need to promote Italian education, let's create 3 new courses taught in English only to address a certain audience, global audience. It's not that. So let's say a student who wants to study, just Google top 5 XYZ courses taught in Italy. Probably you will find 3 taught in English, 2 in Italian. So even for a native Italian student, if he or she wants to crack to one of those 5 top universities or 5 top courses, they need to consider English as a language proficiency, and they need to pass that. So the evaluation is very even Steven.
So there's no disadvantage,
Not at all.
whether they are reading a course which has been taught in English in Italy, but how about the faculties,
Yeah, of course. So the faculties, whenever there is an English taught courses, the faculties are always, of course, the faculties not only they themselves, if you go back to their journey, in academic journey, they haven't studied only in Italy. Say, for example, if you go to India, to IITs and Delhi University, for example, we are sitting in Delhi, that's why I'm saying this. Of course, they haven't studied
Just
all
studied
through
in
their
Delhi.
life in
Delhi,
India,
yeah.
right? So even for us, for that matter, we never only studied. We had tastes of both the worlds,
Yeah,
to be honest. Similarly, so say, for example, many of them probably have gone to US universities for research collaborations. They have students, international students. So that is completely an English environment. And another thing, important thing I would like to add here, which I tell as well to the students, is that by English speaking or English taught, by that I do not want to or mean to restrict it to the lecture in English. It's an English environment that you will be. It's an international environment that you will be in. It's not like, okay, you enter the classroom, you see the lecture, attend the lecture in English, get out of the place, and you are again at a bay. It's not like that. So you will get students from multiple countries. We can come back to that in terms of how the classroom looks like. It's a very global classroom. So it's not like, so that automatically gets reflected in terms of where you are staying, the library, the cafes you are going, your canteen, everything.
Yeah, I mean, Italy being a metropolitan
Yeah, of course.
country, and especially with not only Milan and Rome, even I have been to Florence and Torino. Even that is also quite multicultural.
Absolutely.
So it's not like if you go to Italy and you only get Italian culture and history. I mean, I'm coming to that question.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've been to Italy a couple of times. Mainly Milan, Rome, and Turin, right? And I didn't find that I can't speak Italian, right? But I didn't find tough to navigate. Even the transportation is quite
Absolutely.
sorted. It's like London.
Yeah.
The
They
trams
always
and all
have
that.
one English
Yeah.
announcement than an Italian one.
And I can see that they have a conscious efforts to build that. It's just not Italian speaking country.
No.
And probably that is because of it's a part of Europe.
Of course,
you know.
of
So
course. People are friendly.
People are
Often
friendly.
people are very friendly. Honestly, across many,
I can vouch
across,
for that.
across regions, north, south, whatever.
In fact, I'll give you
Mostly
an
are friendly.
anecdote here. Me and my co-founder was sitting in Milan in one of the cafe. And next to us there was a Spanish couple. Next table there was a Brazilian couple. And no, I'm not kidding it. I'm not making it up. So I can't speak Brazilian. I can speak Italian, but we have Google Translator. So we all having beer and we were interacting.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
was a kind of, I mean, and that's why that anecdote just stuck with me. And that day I like, now traveling has become so easy.
Yeah, yeah.
And literally the borders have blurred. There were time when I went to Nottingham, in English speaking country, right?
Absolutely.
I was still apprehensive, a bit scared, right? Now even traveling to Europe, even if I don't speak Italian, it's so I won't say it's easy. There are apprehensions, but
Of course,
but
yeah.
it's very manageable. And probably that's the reason lots of Indian students or international students are choosing Italy as education journey.
Absolutely.
Education
In fact,
journey.
what you said, like this is an amazing anecdote, to be honest. And these are personal stories that matter a lot, to be honest, because these become instances for people who want to aspire in the similar ways, rather than saying a few lines from books or reading out something from some agreement. It's always better. The personal stories make a lot of difference. So what you said, yeah, you faced as a traveler or someone who went there for work maybe, but you can imagine for over a couple of hours over a drink, if you get to easily blur those lines, as you mentioned, how it's gonna be for a student who is staying for 2 or 3 years and sharing almost many other things beyond just a beer or a cafe. So that's how it is. I mean, and it is a fair reflection, I would say, to be honest, to a certain extent.
So talking about culture and history, right? We all know that
Yeah.
Italian and Italy has been known for their culture, history, their fashion. We'll come to fashion. I can see your great jacket. You talk about fashion. And I had to match up. But coming on, Italy been renowned for its rich culture and history. So how Italian university incorporate in their studying style, in their courses, and overall, development of a student when they go to Italy. And most of people who go to Italy, mostly it's not it's not thumb rule, but either they're going for business, either they're going for fashion, or probably culinary, or more new age courses.
Of course, like the obvious ones.
Yeah. So how Italian university been inculcating that rich culture, history, lineage Italian university?
Okay, I will answer this in 3 parts, I would say. Okay, so the first part is I will tell a little bit of my personal story, not personal story, rather.
And thank you, I'm interrupting me. Why don't you share your background? Because we just jumped to your official introduction.
Yeah, I will
So,
cover it up
yeah.
anyway throughout my our conversation. So it's okay. Basically, I have studied. I studied literature first. Then I studied. I had a degree in publishing. So then I studied politics, global politics, and later.
I smile because you can't take a politics from Bong, right?
No,
If you're a
it's not.
Bengali, politics in your blood. Go ahead.
No, yeah, it's true. But I never did it. I never took an interest when I was in Bengal, to be honest. It was much later. Yeah, so I started, when I was in Calcutta, I started having inclination towards literature more. So I did a master's in literature. Then I started publishing, had a degree. And then I studied politics and diplomacy, public diplomacy and policy. But
And all this you study from India?
no, I'm coming to that. So, and before that, before coming to this area of field, I was working completely different, in a completely different industry. I was working in publishing house, in an indie publishing house, and then at Penguin Random House, I was working as an editor. Then I joined the embassy much later. I went to Italy. I studied at University of Perugia. I mentioned you a couple of times, and that's one of the pointers I would like to bring here up in terms of giving you the answer to what you asked. So the first thing I would say, you were asking about the incorporating of the antiquity, history, architecture, everything to the modern day sense of courses which are more global in terms of their outlook.
Right.
So yeah, there are 3 parts to it, I would say. The first one, I would say, the experience of a student. Okay, So when I first time for the first, I had a very good idea of how Italy would look like, of course. Though I didn't study in Rome or Milan per
Yeah.
se, or not even Florence for that matter, where people usually go. That's what I mean to say. So, but I had an idea of Italy, how it is. In fact, my affinity towards literature grew, and I started learning Italian because I wanted to study Renaissance, which is like the hub there, and that's how my studying Italian started from there. So when I entered the classroom, like the first time, the gallery, the classroom. So many of the cases in Italy, what happens is, even considering the smaller university towns, uh, these are buildings which are 700, 800 year old, and these were later gifted to the university maybe. So the university, let's say a university is 400 year old, which is on an average, but the building is 800 year old, which was owned by a local lord kind of person who gifted it. So the classroom you enter, I probably later would share a couple of pictures of my classroom. It's amazing. You get awestruck. It's almost like we unfortunately don't take it otherwise, to be honest, but we do not have galleries that beautiful here. So a normal classroom where you just, there are benches and everything, there is big screen for sharing for the teacher to deliver a lecture, but the classroom is amazing. It's there are frescoes on the ceiling, there is a huge lantern that coming down, there is a wall work, and the color selection is a pastel gray, green, and it's an amazing, and they use the old yellow lights, not the modern day yellow lights, like we call it chandeliers, so that kind of thing. So doesn't matter if you're studying physics or literature or art, you are transported into an anxium, which is an art.
I already got there.
Yes.
It's so fascinating. It's
It's
sounding like
fascinating.
and it's like, I should be doing my double master in Italy.
Yeah, I mean, it's
And,
about a choice. I mean, whether you are studying literature and you want to associate with yourself, or you are studying art and you want to associate yourself with Renaissance, or you want to study physics and associate yourself with Galileo, it's your choice.
So when you're studying Italy, there's the ambience,
Always.
right? And that ambience probably make you a history lover,
Automatically.
culture lover. Yeah.
Yes, automatically. This consciousness is very important, I believe. It's not apparently very important, but this consciousness, you do not need to study history, but the sheer belonging there would make you curious. And probably you will Google a couple of things, because let's say your classroom's name is something. You just Google it and get to know, okay, this room belonged to some person where someone
There's some
came.
history.
Yes, yes. And another example. So no, I'm diverting a little from academics here. So I was roaming around. So in Perugia, again, it's such a small byline in a complete residential byline area, where I went and I discovered one small church. It's a very, very ordinary small church. I went there to find that church had the only one unfinished fresco by Raphael when he left, and it's inside the residence area. So I'm giving you an example how it works. So history is embedded in every.
So I'm not an art lover.
Yeah.
But after listening to you, as someone like me who you have ignite that curiosity to learn more about art, culture.
Exactly, that Italy will make sure to do.
So if someone looking for experiential learning,
Yes,
probably
absolutely.
Italy is
It's an overall, the word ecosystem we use often now, but it's actually probably one premium definition of ecosystem, how overall you can grow.
It's natural, basically.
It's very natural. It's very end to end, I would say. So that's one point. Now talking about the courses, etc. Of course, now courses have become very global, and that's the hook. Actually, you cannot have a very niche course that you can study. Okay, if you are trying to do a very niche specialization, that's different. But if as a student you are coming after bachelor's or after your 12th and you are open to 3-4 choices, you have to be on the similar platform to a certain extent. And through the teaching methodology, curriculum, these things seep in the culture and history. Now the third part that I'm going to add in terms of course, how it is done. So in Italy, there are two systems. Okay, we can talk about it later as well. But just to give you an idea, in two systems. One is university system, one is AFAM system, AFAM. So AFAM basically stands for Fine Arts and Music, FAM. Okay. Now why so? The degree wise both the same. It's like recognized by the ministry. So the AFAM school, so in Italy it's such a big thing, to be honest. So that's why we have a separate umbrella altogether to cater to address to the courses which are related to fine arts, sculpture, painting, like this. And these fine arts classrooms are actually sculpture studios, yeah, of architects, like that. Now I would like to mention a couple of courses which could be very interesting. I mean, to sum it up, how Italy is blending these history, antiquity with the modernizations. There are a couple of courses. Say, for example, Tor Vergata in Rome has a very.
You say it again.
Tor Vergata, Torvergata. It's one of the very premium.
And please excuse me, because this is not natural to me. So to be honest, I don't want to sound pseudo, because I mean, Italian education system I have not studied, and I mean I'm learning. I'm learning to be more used to Italian ecosystem. So as I mentioned, I'm sitting like a curious student. Probably if I need to send my kid to Italy, I'm taking from that class. That okay. When Faith, my daughter, probably if we are sitting with her and we want to discuss whether we need to send to Anglophone countries or a specific region. So that is my curiosity. So allow me to ask you like a student.
No, absolutely.
And to my audience, to my audience, please judge me. It's okay. I have some reports, numbers. But yeah.
So yeah, just to give you an idea. So University of Tor Vergata, it is one of the very premium universities. Like
and where is this situation?
In Rome. It's in Rome.
Okay.
So they have a very premium courses in art history. It's a course, full-fledged masters in art history from antiquity to present. So it's a very niche course. There is another course in University of University of Pavia. They have a course in Mediterranean world history and archaeology. So these are very niche. Now I will talk about two other courses, for example, just to give an idea, which is like a blend of thing. Okay, so where they try to match up with how to make a fusion, let's say. So it's not about studying the history and the antiquity, but also bringing it out in the stage to make it more workable in the present day scenario. Say, for example, University of Torino, not Politecnico Torino, University of Torino has a course in language technologies. So it's a very rare course, to be honest. Language technologies.
Go deep.
Language technologies and digital humanities. So language technologies and digital humanities digital humanities is a big thing in humanities. Okay. Even when I was doing my bachelor's and master's in literature.
When was this?
So I was doing it around 2013-14, around that time.
Okay,
so
that was like 10 years back.
So even then it was a big new thing. So digital humanities is basically digitalization of anything that is we call it art in form of that, and it's a restoration in a digital form.
So is it, again I'm digressing a bit, on the lines of NFT?
There are like 15% probably common areas of it. But it's not performative, to be honest. Digital humanities is more academic per se. So, and language technologies is very interesting thing. Now I have recently studied a couple of books where they have tried to understand how the language evolved, and with that evolvement of the language, how the social outlook and your attitude of a particular class changes or evolves, and how it's formulated through that. So that's how it is. And there is, of course, then so language technology humanities is digital humanities is one of the courses, and then Padova has a course in medieval and Renaissance studies and bringing it up in the modern day context. And about general idea, again, it's my personal experience. I have seen students, I don't know what their specialization or masters or bachelors were, but they had to pick one paper in specialization paper which is not in line of their subject line. So let's say you are studying something like data science, just to give you an example. But you are free to pick a paper from a different thing for your exposure.
It's a very evolving ecosystem,
it's
wherein it's not just very rigid.
Yeah.
It's also not very outdated.
Yeah, of course.
Because I mean, I can say it's like a fusion, right? It's a past
That's
and
what I
pizza
told.
fusion.
Yeah,
wherein you are learning new age technologies,
Yeah.
merging it with very traditional, very academically strong courses,
Yes, keeping it
and
at
then
the
make it
core.
more practical for global,
Exactly. Exactly.
practical reasons.
Yeah.
So I'm, because we went very deep, right? And let me take let me get out of it, and so what are the main cities, which we know, apart from 2 3 like Milan, Rome, Florence, what are the other 3 cities? And then if you can name few very popular courses where students go for. I mean, these what we are talking about, these are very very niche courses, right? And if I'm not wrong, and if I go through numbers, most of Indian students prefer masters, MBA, luxury management.
Absolutely.
So can we get out that?
Yes, I'm giving you an overall
era.
picture of things. So if you're talking about big cities, and so let's keep it Rome, Milan, Florence. These are the 3 big major cities that I was already talking about. On beyond that, there are at least 5 to 6 big cities, I would say, because those cities are specifically identified with universities. That is very important from an academic perspective, to be honest. A city getting identified with
like
the university. I'm giving you an example. So, for example, you are an UK graduate, so you'd be familiar to this scenario. So, since we are very much familiar from our school days, in fact, with the culture of Oxbridge, we call it. So Oxbridge is basically university town, right? So Oxford is probably right now around 1100-year-old. Cambridge is more or less the same. So these are university towns. Now, what is the concept of a university town, which is very important to understand? So historically, university towns are referred to the towns where the university was established first, and the township and the livelihood around it was surrounded, centering on the university, and the overall outlook of that country, of that part, that city, that town, is evolved out of the university life. So, what are the automatic output of it, or results of it? You see these places are very university student friendly. Now, amazingly, the concept of university town, which we associate with Oxbridge very much, it actually is derived from Italy. Yeah. Just to give an example, Bologna. Bologna is older. It's Padova is 800-900-year-old. So if you go to Bologna, you will see it's a city celebrating the university. Now tourism is there. People go there. People go to the center. Bologna center is now very famous, and the food became famous. But you will always see the city is celebrating its university, and it plays a major role for a student who is going there.
And how far is Bologna for, let's say, Milan or Rome?
From Milan, it's closer. Bologna is like towards north. From Florence, it is 1.5 hours maybe. And
it's very central.
It's so Italy
North
map
central.
is like that.
Yeah.
So it's like this here, Bologna, and Padova is very close to Venice. It's 40 minutes from Venice probably. So that's another. I'll just give you a couple of examples. So these things play a huge role in terms of the thing where we are dealing in. Your expertise lies in terms of finding accommodation, and by accommodation, of course, it is not restricted to just an accommodation. It's always about the comfort and making it home. The idea of making it home, what you have to do.
I mean, we don't call ourselves we are an accommodation platform. We call, we are an experience provider.
Exactly.
So we're not selling beds. It's
Exactly. So you as a student must have faced this, because If you are staying somewhere for 2 years, 3 years, even 1 year, you have to make it home, otherwise you cannot sustain. Then you will be homesick, you won't feel anything good about that city, that place. You will feel like, okay, my travel golden days are over after 15 days. Day 16, Tuesday, I feel horrible. It cannot go on. That's the problem. And so it is very important for these places. No, though there is not always a centralized system of, because these universities are so old, not all universities have inside on campus facilities to accommodate their students, like hostels, quote unquote. It doesn't exist.
I mean, yeah, I mean, as per my understanding, most of European countries, and especially in Italy, it's not, you don't have a very organized accommodation ecosystem.
Exactly.
Was compared to probably UK or
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
other
yeah,
countries.
yeah.
So
It's true.
it got its charm, it got its challenges.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the fundamental idea on the basis of which it's sustaining itself in terms of welcoming a student is that it has always welcomed students. So the student is going through probably a few rough patches at the initial days in terms of hunting houses and looking for it. But people are very welcoming.
But sorry,
Yeah.
but what do you observe? Like Indian and international students are booking accommodation and then going, or they are still going there and then looking out? Because it's a change in Anglophone countries wherein now
Yes.
they don't go and book. Earlier, I have seen that trend, but now they know that there's housing crisis, or I mean, you end up paying more and you don't get a better option. So, what is our trend in Italy?
So for you, in order to obtain a study visa, it's imperative for you to have an accommodation set up. But that accommodation may not be a very long-term one, like 3 year long. So sometimes what happens is students do a 6 months accommodation and they go, then they look for a proper, for the next 2.5 years, some setup. I'm talking about this phase of setup. Now with so much of opening up of the boundaries, so many international students, I would say it has become much easier and flexible, because you find a senior who is an Indian who says, okay, mera ghar khali ho gaya, you want to shift, so you try to. So it has been an automatic thing, internally, verbally.
Ecosystem getting
It's
created.
a lot depends in these cases. A lot depends on your like
Your network.
not only network, I would say your references, like oral references, I would say.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Who you're connected with.
Yeah, exactly. It's a word of mouth, and also trust in terms of, okay, I have a senior who is also coming from Chandigarh, I am from Delhi. So if he's saying it's fine, you are getting things, and he's an Indian, has a similar food habit and everything, probably I can easily
But
settle
did you see this trend? I mean, in US, there were a time when people were just replacing the seniors. But now, with more organized PBS or purpose-based student accommodation coming in, or people being, the more students are going, and that means the more awareness is there.
Yeah, of course.
Right? That means there's also a bit more competition or competitiveness, wherein there are lots of cities in Italy and overall wherein you have, I mean, they are housing, but then it's not easily available.
No,
and that's why you start early, right? But have you seen this trend? What we have seen in US, wherein earlier it used to be the same trend that people are replacing their seniors, but now in US people are probably taking out these more organized. All bills, including modern accommodation.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I would say this change has also happened in Italy for big cities like Milan, Rome, where there are many universities as well. Not only the city is big, and people are coming often there for their professional business as well, not only students. So it's of course the scenario is more like what you were saying. People are getting much ready nowadays. But for smaller university towns, now by smaller university towns, there are two categories which are more popular, smaller, less popular, smaller.
Like?
The more popular, smaller is like, let's say, Padova, Bologna. These are the cities. Siena, for example. Now Siena is also a tourist hotspot, to be honest. But here the scene is different. However, the thing is, I think with the university towns culture, it's people do not, students do not feel apprehensive in terms of approaching. However, it is always true for us and also for the students, if someone gets ready with everything, with a solid documentation and an assurance that for the next 2 years this would be his address and this would be their understanding, accommodation, everything, Nothing like that. I mean, it's good for everybody, to be honest, for us, for the students, for the parents as well, because in these cases what happens, sometimes parents ask us, okay, we have made this kind of accommodation, but I want to travel with him. It's true, then they have to go for tourist visa. It's a whole lot of extra process. Want to go there to settle them down. If they're going here from after settling down, already settled down, then probably the parents can visit them 6 months down the line when they are actually settled in that country, and it makes a lot of difference, to be honest.
In fact, let me take some credit. So I remember, when we started back in 2011, right? There were students who were only booking or looking accommodation after they got visas. I mean, I'm talking about Anglophones, very popular countries, right?
I understand.
In Italy, in few European countries, you still need to have a study visa to apply your, apply your visa. But still, one of the credit we as a platform we take, wherein, and I tell everyone that why you need to go and spend 3 to 5 lakh extra just to go and settle.
It's true.
They are
also, just imagine these parents are staying for 21 days in a hotel. And so you can imagine the opportunity cost.
You are missing your office or your business.
Absolutely.
Right. And the irony is you are sending your kids to go and become more independent, and then they are going to settle them. I understand for undergrad students, I understand for female students, though I mean Italy is a very safe country. Whether it's undergrad or postgrad, whether it's male or female, it doesn't matter. Right. But then still, this needs to be changed, and glad you have brought this up here. That I mean, there are platforms, and there are, you guys, who can guide them to the T, rather than going at the time of inductions. If their parents can go after 3-6 months, their experience will be better.
Of course,
kids will be more independent and confident. So
the students, their children can be like their guides then, not the other way around. And it's very important. I mean, you as a student get settled up more or less after 6 months, you will be pretty comfortable, I believe, and with a steady accommodation, it's easy to welcome your parents. Now you come and visit. My semester break, let's spend
and
here.
This is what we are setting our kids for.
Exactly.
It's not just academics.
No, of course
it's about
not.
that independent living.
Absolutely.
It's about staying and doing things for yourself and start early, be more organized. So yeah,
it's true. It's true. Absolutely. And this is good for all, for us as well, in terms of getting assurance. Okay, not only the academics is sorted, the student is sorted. I mean, if the student is very disturbed, very perplexed at the very initial days, high chance they would miss out on their classes. It's natural. I mean, it's not their fault.
I have the number here. People who don't get a safe accommodation initially, right, or people who don't give a new friend group in the first 2 weeks, there is a high probability of 5% dropping out and coming back.
See,
and same thing.
It's a very interesting number, by the way, Saurabh.
And it is average across the world.
Average across the world. No. I understand.
And it was shocking for me. And then there were so many anecdotes wherein people getting probably admit in Marangoni or probably in Bocconi. And because they didn't get housing or because they didn't get a safe housing, they've been challenged why they need to go. And when my team told me this, I'm like, no, you're just making up. I mean, people will go, but it was a fact, right? But now again, with you guys around, with people being more aware, these cases are a bit less, but these cases still exist.
True. And actually, to be honest, we need to go for a greater goal. I mean, just making them at home, to be honest, it's important. Otherwise, also just imagine just students dropping out. It's such a loss for the university. It takes a lot of time, effort of so many people combined to recruit a student, to select a student, and the student is a bright student the student wastes time. The student cannot get enrolled in an Indian university, coming back, have to wait another year. The university loses a student. It loses a merit, such a promising merit. And all boils down to they feeling not well equipped, not comfortable, to say the least.
They're not comfortable. Or they're not getting aligned.
Absolutely. That is another one important thing, which comes almost hand in hand with accommodation, is food. So this is something we also get queries. more from North India, of course, for the vegetarian food choices. How do we face? So I would like to tell, I always tell them, in Italy, if you have been
Yeah.
to, so you know,
I had
We have-
Indian. I had Indian food.
you can get Indian food
probably
anyway.
a very budgeted, and
Absolutely.
also probably better than, I won't say better than India, but
It's pretty
equivalent.
good. It's
Equivalent.
pretty good. So there are right now
Lots of
more
Indian
than
people who have owning
200,000
restaurants.
Indians in all of Italy. And imagine Italy is this small a country, probably 4 North Indian states, and that's it. And 200,000 and 10,000 plus 10,000 plus students only. So even in the smaller towns, you get these things.
Let me add some numbers
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
because you touched number. So if I'm not wrong, we have 1.9 million overall students in Italy, out of which probably around 120,000 are international students, and out of which probably 40-45% are Asian students. And as you mentioned, we have a good a number of 12,000 Indian students in Italy every point of time.
Yeah,
undergrad,
exactly,
postgrad,
exactly,
yeah?
exactly.
And then to top it up, there are short-term courses, there are summer schools, internships.
Absolutely.
So Italy is as metropolitan, and it's not about Milan, Rome.
No, exactly,
or
that's what I
Florence,
want to say,
Even in
yeah.
Torino, even in Padova,
Yeah,
Padova,
yes.
Padova, and then of course your Bologna of the world. So coming to this, so how has profile of international students have changed? Who from probably your time? It's been 10 years, right? I'm not saying you're old, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
been
no,
10
but
years,
yeah, of course, academically,
so,
yes.
So how have the profile have changed, of students studying Italy? Also, how the trends have changed from probably previously people were going for fashion or probably masters or probably history, So how we have seen that trend?
It's very interesting question, to be honest, sort of. So I will answer the second question first. So we go through the annual statistics every year, of course, students going, mobility, everything. So the majority of the students that are going to, in terms of courses, if you do a demography of that, so you will find the extreme opposites. So how so? So if you pick like top 5 courses opted in Italy,
Which are?
for international students, you would find design, fashion. On the other hand, you will find data science.
Ah,
You will find management studies, and here you will get architecture. So I gave you 4. Okay. So what you were
I mean,
saying that
design and
from-
fashion were taken at one, but is it's same. I mean, yeah, okay, yeah.
So yeah, that's what you were saying. So previously, probably it would have been probably 10 years back, 15 years back, when I was a student 10 years back, it probably would have been, okay, design, architecture, Italy is the niche, of course. But now, these two are maintaining their pace, which is really good, which needs to be done in terms of maintaining your plurality, diversity, and everything else. It's absolutely imperative to make your country stand and define itself. But at the same time, 2 others are growing equally, which are like very quote unquote modern day courses, let's say
Tech and business.
data science, business studies. And then there are a couple of courses you already mentioned once, which are a blend of 2, let's say luxury brand management,
management,
which are courses offered primarily by the design schools, not by the business schools.
You want to
So-
name a few?
Yes, for example, Marangoni has, Domus Academy has a luxury brand management courses. Probably from universities, probably University of Cattolica has. So these are courses offered by both by the business schools, but also by the design schools, because it's such a
Yeah, it's been in demand.
it's been in demand, and these areas are so they intersect the line, no? So the design school and business school, let's say luxury brand design.
So I'll stop it here
Yeah.
and I'll reframe, and then we get back to the main
Yeah,
question.
sure.
If someone is very inclined toward arts, culture,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
also they want to build their fashion business, right? What do you advise them? How they should be navigating their journey?
So this is something we get a lot, because previously this narrative used to be there, which is we need to get out of it completely. We have come up 50% of it already, come out of it. So if you are studying art, you have to come from money
Yeah.
to sustain yourself, because it won't bring you a lot of money
Initially.
Yes.
initially.
If you become very celebrated artist, that's different. Otherwise, you are just studying art.
Even someone studying art, I don't think art is the only career.
Exactly. Exactly. So,
You-
for example, this luxury brand management. Just since we are talking about this course, this is a perfect fusion of management where you can utilize your artistic vision into a business format to make it run through an industry, to make it more approachable to a greater ticket number. That the ticket size makes a lot of difference in terms of business. You know better than me in this, but that's how it is. So for students like these who have now, but they have to have the core in art, they have to have a very perfect fashion sense. Now they can choose. It's like, for example,
your foundation and your basics should be strong. Then
Basic
only you
should
can
be
build on
strong.
that.
Exactly. Now, for example, you have studied in a film school. Now, your basic has to be strong. Now you choose whether you want to be a film critic or a film director, right? It's like that. It's your choice.
So I mean, back to the main question. So how you have changed the profile of students, especially international student getting changed, and what kind of courses they're moving. You have covered that.
Yeah.
And any specific regions or programs they have moved
See, to be honest, in terms of exactly courses, number of courses, probably there would be 38. I'm just giving you an example. So yes, we can we have that ready, but of course I cannot memorize all of those.
Yeah.
But I gave you the idea of like areas in terms of profile, which is very interesting because also academically, for an individual, academic branding is important, I always believe. So for that, the profile has shifted a lot. It has become more global thanks to the global classroom. Okay, now why so? Yesterday or the day before yesterday, I was talking to one of the alumni from one of the universities. This university was probably, this student was from Venice, Ca' Foscari, Venice, and I was talking to another student from University of probably Bocconi in Milan. So they were saying about their classroom, how their classroom looks. So it's a 70 people classroom where probably 15 are from EU, other countries. There would be another 12, 13 from Italy, and from US, then South Asia. So what happens like this is, now also we are, after all, at the end of the day, a Schengen country, right, an EU nation. So many students opt for experiential thing like internship, etc., in organizations which probably whose headquarters is in Italy but has a branch in Switzerland, has a branch in France,
Paris.
or even for that matter in India. Because just to give you an idea, in India right now more than 630 plus Italian companies exist who recruit Indians and who look for Italian graduates who
From
like
Indian
Indian
origin.
people who have graduated in
because
Italian
they have
system.
the best. They have the origin.
Exactly, the
and
best
culture
combination,
understanding.
best of the both worlds,
Makes sense.
So that's how it is. So these internships, and even not only internship, post completion, that is different. We have 1 year extension period anyway. Not talking about that, but apart from that, during their course curriculum, they do internship in the final semester, 5th and 6th semesters, 3rd and 4th semester for masters. So these are the things that give you a
so
profile.
masters is for 2 years.
Primarily, we have a 3+2 structure.
Masters.
3 is bachelor's, 2 year masters. Yes.
Okay.
2 year masters.
Same like India.
Same like India. Now India is moving towards a more
1.5
American system,
year.
4+2, stuff like that. We have a 3+2, but we have two important things. We have 2 specialization masters, which is 1 year. So we call it specialization master level 1 and specialization master level 2. So the level 1 specialization master has an aim of addressing to the students who have completed their bachelor's, and they do not want to, for example, stick to academics. They do not want to do research, and after going through studying many papers, they see that there is a market value in terms of working professionals, and I want to specialize in that.
So basically, they want to, let's say they do their graduation and now they want to do a more specialization.
Yes.
They do it for 1 year.
1 year, and they
work it for
join
2-3
the
years.
industry. They join the industry
and then they go
directly.
back either.
It has another purpose, sort of. Say, for example, you want to switch. Okay, you want to switch from one area to another, which is related but not directly. So you haven't studied that. So this specialization masters could play a huge role in terms of you getting, so that is a transition. So you have studied, let's say, data science or computer science, basic computer science.
Yeah.
Now you want to do a master's in artificial intelligence. Now you see that, okay, I have some gaps to fill. So you opt for such course which will prepare you for the 2-year laurea magistrale, we call it, so full-fledged masters. On the other hand, there was specialization level 2. This is, I spoke about level 1. Level 2 is primarily in order to address students who have completed their masters probably, and they want to stick to academics, yes, and go for research. You know, previously, like even 3-4 years back, there used to be the concept of MPhil here in India.
Yeah.
So the MPhil's idea eventually was like probably changed, but initially the idea was like that, to prepare someone of PhD programs, proper research, because in MPhil there used to have, on the first year you used to have a whole year dedicated to research methodology. So that's how you prepare a student. So these are very different kind of thing, and apart from there, these two major segments, there is one couple of courses. Let's say for medicine and surgery, there is a, we call it single cycle masters, which is a 6-year course. A student completes their bachelor's 12th year, and then they go there, they do 6-year completion, and it becomes, if you are asking me in terms of equivalence, let's say we call it what we call it, an MD, not an MBBS. It's like that. So there are 12 government
More specialization, and
yes, it happens on a single
within
cycle.
medicine you take a
of course
special
you
department.
do that, and we have 12 major public universities and hospitals, and there are few very good prestigious private as well. So there is a common entrance test for that, and that's how it happens. So these are the 3 segments. 2 plus 3 is the general, then there are 2 specialization cycles, masters 1, level 1, level 2, and then there is single cycle. These are the major, I would say. Now AFAM has flexibility in terms of fine arts and management, etc. These things, they might differ, but mostly pertinent to this course structure.
So you mentioned, if we can wrap up, because
Of course,
summarize, because you're saying that from typical design and fashion and architecture, now mostly international students are exploring more masters and more specific courses like luxury brand management, fusion of both. Then also there's a flexibility in Italy. You want to do 3 years and then 1 year and then probably go into industry, and then
it's up to you. Yeah,
if you want to upskill, you can do it. If not, you are prepared well.
Absolutely.
To probably grow in your career. And as we talk about career, and you also touch about internships and job placements. So I mean, and that's a very important outcome for any student, any university. So what are the internships options, and what kind of jobs placements, and what kind of universities collaborations are happening between countries, between university and industry or organizations.
So in terms of the structure of the things, I would say first, so we have post completion 1-year extension. The student doesn't need to come back. It's a 1-year extension of their study permit, and depending on the subject, of course, if it's engineering, medicine and surgery, management, marketing, these are the fields where there is highly likely the student will get a job within that 1 year, and then their study permit will be a residence permit into a work residence permit from study residence permit. That's how it works. In terms of internships, if you are talking about, so for masters, majorly the final semester is dedicated to internships, and that's how it gets credited. And now if you're talking about jobs and opportunities,
so I'll just hold on there, right? This is a bit technical, right? So like mostly anglophone countries, where probably you go for a year for your masters, or probably 3 years for your undergrad, or 4 years for your undergrad, and then you have post-study visas for probably in some countries they are 6 months, then there are some countries we provide 3 years, and it keeps changing.
It's so on an average 6 months to 2 years. We say
2 years, and it's changing as per the geopolitical,
of course, scenario
and political scenario. How it's been in Italy in terms of the policy changing, and also typically you are saying you get an extension of 1 year, and within 1 year you need to get a job of a particular amount, or a particular kind of jobs, because they are, most of the countries they have specific jobs and specific salaries, due to which, or probably the local company needs to sponsor the visas. How it's in Italy.
Okay, so yeah, so basically once you get a job, you will get and job. Job I mean not part-time job.
Yeah,
of course, a
full-time
full-time
job,
job. It has to be a full-time job, and then
full-time job means you can
it
work
usually happens for us. It's a 36 hour to 40 hour a week. That's the standard. So if you get a job, you will get a contract and an invitation letter from the organization. Now with that, you will have to apply for the permit change. So you will get the contract which will mention the duration of the contract. It usually, let's say, is a 3 year or 4 year. So you get an extension, not extension, your conversion of from study residence permit to work residence permit. It gets done that way, and you get that automatically for those spans. Okay. Now, if your organization would mostly likely not wait till the 3rd year, but on the 2nd year you probably get another, like a longer extension for 10 years. That's how it works. Okay. Now also, not only
the company can decide whether they want to go for 5 years extension or 10, or it's standard.
Honestly on the company, but there is some like unset standards, I would say. Okay. Now there are also
But generally 5 years or 10 years?
5, I would say, but sometimes I have seen 7 to 10 as well.
So 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, it depends. And then also I have seen a recent trend which is very interesting for South Asian students. So all these companies have a center in, let's say, one in Dubai, one is in Singapore, etc. So they usually try to aim for a student to start learning there in the host country, in Italy. Let's say they gather experience on the headquarter, because that is always different, and then after 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, also I have seen students also, they want to come back after a certain point of time. After working professionals, they now
to come back to India, they want to start up their own,
or even they join probably with a bigger capacity the same organization in the Indian continent. So let's say someone is working as a
leapfrog your career.
Exactly. So someone, let's say you stay there for 3 years and you become a regional manager, just to give an example of region handling north and northeast, let's say. Now you come India and become the general director of South Asia. You could be, no, right? That's how it works. So they students also opt for this. The students also opt for these things. So that's it. And I also already mentioned you about the existing companies. So we have to.
You mentioned
630 plus companies in India. That's a lot of companies, and it includes very famous one like Lavazza, Ferrari, Lamborghini, like these, and also other companies which we are not aware of, because Italy.
Just mention few iconic. I mean, of course,
iconic companies.
Gucci's and
Lamborghini, Ferrari. These are there. Yeah. Then Lavazza, the coffee brand, is there, and Italy has a lot of export in terms of pharmaceuticals. Yes, which is it's because the brandings are not important here probably to the common people. That's why we don't know about the names. For example, even if you ask me right now to name 5, I won't be able to. That's how it is. But Italy is one of the leaders in globally leaders in terms of exporting pharmaceuticals. That's another reason in terms of subject areas. I forgot to mention then. Good that we talked about this. Pharmacy and the health sector as the industry, not only medicine and surgery. I'm talking about pharmacy, pharmaceuticals, and agriculture. These two are major fields in Italy in terms of getting jobs and opportunities of exploring your career, growing very fast, because Italy is one of the leading countries in terms of this, and Italy is probably one of the leading, if not the leading country in globally in terms of teaching food manufacturing to the entire world, because we are already suffering globally in terms of mass production of food and quality compromise. So this is something Italy is really working on and lead. And
give me a couple of companies which are popular for pharmacy.
Companies, I will have to check it honestly, because these names I am not also very used to. I know there are a couple of these names, but in terms of food and processing, there is a lot of industries, brands, and universities specifically working in this. For example, University of Parma has a very specific niche course in culinary, and culinary, by culinary I don't mean this, I mean the industry part. So these 4-5 areas play a huge role. And two and more important things is that there are few scholarships by the government, very important ones.
Before we move to scholarships, right? I would like to go deeper again. What kind of university collaborations are having with?
Because I was talking about the scholarship. I will talk about the rest of the scholarships later. One scholarship I want to mention is that this scholarship is called IYT scholarship.
How we call it?
IYT, three separate. So basically, the full form of it is Invest Your Talent.
Okay.
That's the full form. The short form is IYT. This scholarship has a mandate. It's a merit-based scholarship, very competitive, very solid scholarship. And once someone gets rewarded with the scholarship, so after that, the student, it's a mandate by the scholarship that you will get everything. Your tuition fee is exempted. You earn on top of that around, if I'm not wrong, then 10,000 euro annually. Just for studying, nothing else. It's just a stipend to encourage your studies basically. And after completion of your studies, a 3-month on-job training. It's a mandate by the thing. And by on-job training, it's not an internship. You do work from home. No, it's not like that. You are taking part in the industry. And students opt for these places where they have a counterpart in India. I mean, for Indian students I'm talking about. So that's how it is. So this is very majorly important point in terms of shifting the gear, in terms of encouraging more employment from university academics to professional spheres. And another thing, I probably lost the trail of thought. Anyway,
So no worries. So where I'm coming from again, let's say, because I believe mostly architecture, design, fashion, they are very practical courses, right? So there must be lots of industry,
absolutely,
placements,
absolutely,
and
always,
collaboration,
even for fashion as well. To be honest,
Any you want to name few? Any if it comes to your mind?
So, for example, for many design schools across the globe, there is this famous festival, which is not a festival, but much bigger than that, which is called Salone di Mobile, which is a Milan fashion week, let's say.
That's such a big word,
It's called Salone di Mobile.
Okay.
So it's people across the globe apply for visa to go there, take part, to see. It's a live workshop for designers across the globe.
And when
What happens in Milan?
And
Milan,
when did it happen?
It happens last time. This happened a couple of months back. Just so next
June,
year,
July,
around that sometime. So that's how it is. And
So it's like a fashion conference.
Yes, it's a show, conference, everything. It's everything. It's a mix. I mean,
like a,
and since in these
is it
fields,
like a Tomorrowland of fashion?
Yeah,
Can I
exactly.
say
You could
that?
absolutely, probably that. Yeah.
And
in
name
terms
it again for me.
Salone di Mobile. So you can Google it. It's a great thing.
Salone di Mobile. It happened June, July.
Milan.
And like in Milan, June, July in Milan. And it's like a.
I don't know whether you should call it carnival.
But it's on those levels.
It's all the
fun.
leading fashion
It's fun
designers.
learning
It's fun
and good
learning.
food
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
exposure.
Yeah, it's great. So for architecture, they primarily work in studios directly during their final years and final 2 semesters per se. And design also, they do that.
So if me ask again, right? Not that I'm criticizing Indian
No, of course.
education system, but it used to be. Now with NEPs and lots of things are changing,
course.
right? But in our days, it was more theoretical than practical.
Yeah, even for my time, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yes, true.
So if you put about Italian education system, what percentage is more academic? And because there's something which you have to read, you have to study, because if you're reading culture and history, you need to have that basic clear, and then only you can implement it. But what percentage is more practical and theoretical?
It depends, honestly, sort of, it depends on the course. Okay, so few course will decide, probably we will dedicate 60% on field, 40% on classroom, and
It's a good share. It's a good
yeah,
mix.
so it's a very good mix, I would say.
mix.
Then there would be like something with 40-60 rather than 60-40. You
It's
know,
again good mix,
yeah,
because
it's always a good mix.
yeah, architecture you need to
Absolutely.
I mean, you need to
Otherwise,
do
how
your
we
basics
do?
clear. then-
Absolutely. Design, architecture, even for those these you need to work, and it's a, for Milan, for example, is a fashion hub, for example. So everybody looks forward to that, and the working chances and possibilities.
Why Milan has been have established or probably have authoritative as a fashion capital? What is the history?
I don't know. Historically, it's very tough. I probably, the Parisians will say we are the fashion capital. I don't know. I think it's not only about what you see on the streets, which people really dress well, no doubt about that.
I can see that. I can see.
I have.
I mean, I really, in fact, I have to match up your jacket with mine. But,
So I am nobody on the streets of Milan. So, but yes, that is true. But apart from that, I think a lot depends on the industry, the industry exposure, festivals or events like this, which make it a hub, a hot pot of every activity is possible. Another thing, I got my thought back. What I was mentioning, there is this. Of course, you must be aware now. It is very popular across the globe as well, which is the Erasmus program. The Erasmus program now it's not only Europe; it's Erasmus Mundus, Erasmus Mundus, whatever you call it, which makes India as part. So many students who are really good academically, they opt for the Erasmus program and they go to do 1 semester abroad or 2 semesters abroad in another European country, maybe in France or Belgium or Germany, whatever. And it adds so much of value, sort of, to be honest. I mean, not only you are getting an exposure, academic exposure, but you are also doing it in the final semester. So automatically you are getting exposed to the market, to the market of that country. So let's say you have 2 countries open in front of you, Italian market and the German market. Another very important thing I would like to tell is about this question I always face in terms of employability and everything. Since Europe or European Union is a bigger circle within, or bigger globe, within which exists
fraternity.
Yes, and within which, let's say, there are smaller globes like Italy, France, and other countries, Spain. So what happens is, it's like almost like, if you see in an Indian context, to give you an idea, so it's more or less, okay, if you are doing into very much
In
let's
North
say
India.
financial banking or something like that, probably there is a chance you would move eventually to Mumbai, right? If you are working in some other segment, probably you are highly likely to move into Delhi. I mean, just to give an example. So that's how it works. Okay, there as well. And so the employability, the question of employability is multifaceted, is very liquid, it's very plural. Why so? Because it is possible XYZ country has the best course in XYZ subject, but has a best employment in ABC country, and vice versa. ABC country is hosting 3 top-notch universities with best courses in this field, which has a better employment actually in XYZ country. So this happens. Now for a student, it is their choice what they would choose. Whether they would choose a top-notch academic education in this field and then getting placed in another country, or they want to choose, okay, the industry is there, so I'm ready to compromise in terms of ranking of the university or the course, etc., and I would be there around the industry so that it would be easier for me, or vice versa.
So you are saying that the advantage of choosing, or double advantage of choosing Italy.
Yes.
Not only you get a Italian ecosystem,
but
the proper European ecosystem, which is open yet close.
Yes.
Right, and that means you get access to 27, 28 more
markets.
Right?
It's a win-win, I would say.
Win-win.
It's a win-win for either of us, to be honest, for Italy and the European counterparts. I mean, now it's your ball to play. I mean, whether you want to focus.
So even if let's say you go to Italy and let's say you loved it, but now you need to move or have different exposure.
Yeah.
So you go to Italy, make your base, but you can still travel back to India. You can travel
of
back
course, of
different.
course. Yes, the only thing that stays with you is with education. There is a sense of a layer adds of that country's. Right, that is the authenticity. So say for example you have studied in the UK, so you have certain sensibilities that have grown around those time, which will never leave you.
That
right?
become my nature, that become my DNA.
Exactly. So doesn't matter where you are working 10 years down the line, for me it has remained, it will remain always.
So you are saying if you have studied in Italy, so by default you will be a well-dressed human being.
So, I mean, probably it should be a byproduct.
It's a byproduct.
I think so. I mean,
so your styling
little
expense is being saved.
Yeah, probably you'll be a little critical of cheese and and wine maybe.
Pizza.
Pizza, of course. Yeah.
Okay. A fun.
Yeah, of course.
The pizza and pasta we get served in India.
Yeah.
How different is that with the authentic pizza and pasta in Italy? And you can be as candid as you can.
Yeah. I mean, there is no point of reference here, to be honest. I mean, completely two different dishes. It's like you are given, say for example, you are given with onion, tomato, and garam masala, and you prepare something in Punjab, and you prepare with the same thing something in Kerala.
It's like that Punjabi Chinese. The
like,
Chinese we get in China or in Hong Kong.
Yeah. It's
I mean,
and also, but honestly, the Italian food, the branding of Italian food, or not branding, I would say, the popularity of Italian food like pizza, pasta, these didn't happen through Italy. It happened to US. If you
absolutely.
See, the top brands, the chains, the pizza chains are American chains. So
that's
it's
what
not
American
India's
do well,
fault, to be honest.
That's what
okay,
American do well. They know how to market it.
Yeah, so it's not India's fault that it's almost an US
this is what they've been catered. Yeah, this is what they've been fetch, and that was they have.
Now, very recently, you will find probably somewhere a couple of in Gurgaon, couple in South Delhi, couple of in Noida, a couple of blocks,
Italian.
very like pizzeria we call it, very Neapolitan style pizza. But it's like not even 5 years back it was there. There used to be pizza chains, and pizza chains are products of US, and the US pizzas are always anyway horrible,
and they are always fast food.
Yeah, absolutely. The concept of pizza is very different from there. In Italy, you eat pizza as a staple, and you don't gain weight. I mean, look, probably their obesity. Probably the obesity rate is 13%.
It's the bread also, no?
Yeah, it's also the bread, the preparation, the fresh food items. I mean, I lost weight after eating a lot in Italy, to be honest. For two reasons.
Is it the weather?
Weather is one of the major reasons.
Program you was
no, it's weather is a major reason. The food is a major.
How's the weather?
It's usually 8-9 months really amazing. Summers are really bad now, no doubt about that. But otherwise,
from Indian standard, no, not from Indian standard.
But I would say bad. I mean, 40 degrees never nice for Indians either. Okay,
and
now
also,
we have seen 48.
And also, Indian ecosystem has been created with ACs and buildings around it.
This is
they can't destroy their buildings and can't install
change
ACs
everything. Yeah, it's true. So that's how the difference is.
What is a good time to? What is not a good time to go to Italy not as a student but otherwise?
For a traveler.
Yeah.
What is not a good time? Summers to avoid. Because summers
Indian summers.
The same summer.
June,
we
July.
have the Italy also some May, June, July is the summer. Avoid it because of two reasons. Number one, the European summer narrative is still there, so people travel a lot. Prices shoot. And you get exhausted on the street because 40 degree. And in Italy, which is the country with the highest number of UNESCO sites, you will be exhausted anyway. So if you have to do it, and they have very long days, Saurabh.
Yeah.
I mean, sunrise happens at 5 and sunset happens at 9.
9, and their days till 11 also, if I heard it right.
Yeah, so you will be exhausted in 40 degrees, so avoid. For budget,
So October, November is a good time.
October, November is good time.
It is a good
I mean,
time.
for Delhi, it's for us, since we are, I don't know how Mumbaikars would say, because probably they would feel very cold there in the November, but for us, it's pretty nice. October, November is
And then Feb, March is good time.
Feb, March is good. If you want to see the winter wonderland in Europe, then of course go around Christmas,
December,
probably that's
Jan,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let me take it back.
Yeah.
So what was scholarships? You once mentioned one, which
One.
was IYT.
Invest your talent.
Your talent.
Yeah.
What is that, and what are the other scholarships which
Okay.
are popular? And
So before scholarship, I want to tell you one very interesting fact about the tuition fees, overall idea of tuition fees. So for the public universities, which is majority, let's say 70% of the universities are public universities, the tuition
how many universities we have in there? 98.
a little more because there is a farm and university, etc. No, so 70% of the universities are public universities. For public universities, tuition fee is variable. It's not fixed. It is on the basis of students' financial background.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yes, that's
very interesting.
Because in Italy, it is considered education should be free, but you cannot keep it free of course.
Yeah, you need money.
So there is a huge lot of like substantial amount of contribution from the government in order to make it work. So that's how the education tuition fees for public universities is income based. You have to provide certain documents and income certificates.
But there must be some basic.
Yeah, there will be some
threshold.
of course some threshold, some basic, but there would be, it's a competitive one. It covers. So for just to give you an idea, say for example, I earn 1,000 euro a month. You earn.
But in where? In India, let's say.
Doesn't matter. I'm talking about in general terms. Let's say I'm talking about in euros because of that.
Yeah.
Let's say I earn 1,000 euro per month. You earn 1,500 euros per month. So by the general logic of things and everything, and the income based income based tuition fees, our tuition fees, forget about any scholarship or anything, our tuition fees would be different.
This is very interesting.
This would be different.
I mean, this is something new to me.
It's very rare actually, honestly. It's
very interesting because I know, I mean, Germany, there are lots of public universities, right? And the fees varies. But I mean, is there any other ecosystem where we have such kind of?
I don't know. I mean, in terms of if you compare the tuition fees, probably you will find other counterparts, but I don't know how the logic works.
Yeah, I'm talking about the logic.
The logic in Italy works like this, and that's why you will be surprised to know for a public university, the students on an average pay for annual, I'm talking about tuition fees around 3,000 euro.
Wow, that's even cheaper than. And these are, you're talking about 800,000 years all universities.
Public universities I'm talking about. So 3,000 euro per
annual.
year for 2 semesters, that is. So why? Because
And this is undergrad, postgrad, irrespective.
I'm giving you a vague number. I mean, it's across, of course. Let's say now someone is studying engineering. It's a little expensive course because of the thing. So it could be 3,700, and someone could also be 2,500 as well, to be honest.
So you're saying that it's as equivalent or cheaper than studying in India, even in the private universities.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I am telling. So if you compare private universities here versus public universities in Italy, yes, now people would say the cost of living is different. But I'm talking about,
but not same everywhere.
It's honestly,
I mean, see, there are lots of people who comes and say that, oh, we need to have 400-500 euro in Italy. I'm like, you know what? In Mumbai you don't get it. In Noida you don't get it.
Exactly. You just said my words. I was about to say this. Just imagine staying in Bombay. Just imagine staying in Gurgaon. Just you know the difference, right?
So again, get back to let me get back to that income based tuition fee.
Yeah.
This is mind blowing. At least something new to me. So, but how people get this proved, because there can be a ambiguity.
No. So what happens is, basically, again, I'm talking a little vaguely to make it simplified. So basically, after everything is done, it is a mandate that you have to submit your income proof. Okay.
Yeah,
now how does it happen? It has to be, even for scholarships, the rule is same. Okay. For need based scholarship I'm talking about. So you need to submit these documents, which has to be attested apostille. Basically, I'm not going to the technical terms. Basically, which has to be testified by your host country. I mean, your country of origin. For us, the Indian government. Then that will be legalized, again a technical term, basically recognized by the Italian counterpart in the diplomatic mission, that is the embassy of Italy or the consulates.
So you need to submit ITR and
So
back
yeah,
then?
yeah. So you have to, and the idea is your family income, not
Yeah, of course.
the sponsor's income only. Okay, so that's how
As a family income.
family incomes, to have an idea.
So who all get
So the your
added into family?
immediate family members. I mean, where you have, say for example, I my salary is less, but I have a huge land valuation.
But if I don't disclose,
The problem is it has to be the Indian government plays the role. Now, first the attestation or whatever you called, this has to be done by the Indian government. So the records are pretty much reflected now, since everything is with the linked and
Digitalized
everything.
and,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's like that. So
More
of course we cannot testify someone's economic situation here. So the Italian government, through their diplomatic enclaves, just testify that, and that paper goes to the university desk, and then they give the
it's so interesting, you know. If I compare with other countries, you know, it's about proving that we have the income. You know, here probably they say we don't have the income. You know.
Yeah,
Wow.
so the tuition fees is like that. Yes, the only thing we need, what you said, is of course to make sure the student can sustain, because you know the problem with, again we come back to housing, because the universities do not have on campus facilities, because they cannot, logistically it's impossible. So that doesn't come under them, so they cannot cover that up. For few universities there are there, for example University of Messina has a almost all accommodation facility. It's a public university though, yet there are, but majority they won't have, because they cannot have. So that cannot be regulated. So the student has to have enough solid proof to
So even
prove
public
the
university-
fact that they can sustain.
Even public university have less accommodation. Even private too don't have.
No,
Yeah, so
because the concept, because
Yeah,
it's not there,
there's no
logistically it's not there. No,
it's like in UK, you know, there's no concept like catered accommodation. Like, you know,
exactly
today in India,
exactly. You
if
always
you're staying in a hostel
prefer
and
that.
there's no food.
no.
you know, parents
People
don't-
don't go for that. It's true. It's true.
Yeah, let's get back to.
So yes, so now I am talking about the scholarships. One IUIT I already told. So
Yeah.
even beyond this, with IUIT scholarship, you get 100% exemption of your tuition fees, and you get something around 10,000 euro annually, which will be credited to your bank account at the end of each month, your student bank account. And there is another scholarships which is called MAECI. MAECI.
Okay,
We called it Maichi.
CI. Okay.
Maichi scholarship. It is also by the Ministry of External Affairs scholarship. The IUIT scholarship is Ministry of External Affairs, the Italian Trade Agency, and Uni-Italia. And the Maichi scholarship is by the ministry. And this scholarship is also a merit-based scholarship, hugely competitive, hugely prestigious, and it also has 100% exemption.
And
of
how many
tuition fees.
students can?
The
no-
capping is
there's
not
no
like
limit.
that. Doesn't work that way. It's a merit based. They
And
decide.
even, so there's not a zero sum game.
No.
Amazing.
It's a
Amazing.
so, but it is a merit based, so
Yeah.
it's very competitive, as you can understand.
But then
And-
see, the good thing is it's competitive, but you're competing with yourself.
yeah,
You know,
it's
because
true.
if you are saying there's no cap,
Yeah, it's like that. Yes, true. So, Maichi is that 100% exemption. You get 900 euros per month as stipend. And you get your health and other insurance
Included,
covered,
yeah.
and everything, library access, and probably, if I'm not wrong, probably they have a few, like every university has a dedicated scholarship, of course, apart from these.
Yeah.
Okay, so each university has a dedicated scholarship cell. Now it is their lies with their autonomy how they want to reward it, merit based, finance based, a mixed of both. They want to take a test, it is their autonomy, but there should be a scholarship team, dedicated scholarship cell, and on the basis of that they could decide how much could be a 30% exemption or 20% exemption. Usually they cover one meal a day. It happens like this. It is fluctuating that way. Okay. And the fourth scholarship is called DSU scholarship.
DSU.
DSU. This is the only need.
So which one the third one?
That's the university scholarships. It is each university's undertaken business, and the fourth one is DSU, which is the only need-based scholarship by the government. So just to give you an idea, so say for example in India we have 29 states. In Italy we have 20 regions. We do not call it states, we call it regions.
Regions, okay.
Say for example, if you are in Milan, you are in part of Lombardy or Lombardia. If you are in Florence, you are in Tuscany, right? If you are in Rome, you are in a different region. That's how it works. Now, each region has a dedicated scholarship cell. Okay. So this scholarship, so once you,
Is it like a state-sponsored scholarship?
kind of, yeah, you could say that. Now this scholarship is merit, not merit based, income based. The documents, procedures remains the same as I mentioned you. And the third thing is, it is variable in the sense the list will be prepared, and on the basis of that it will be decided who is going to get what kind of reward. Someone could get 70% of tuition fee exemption.
It's on an evaluation basis.
It's on an evaluation basis, but financial mostly.
But sorry, ma'am, I'm asking, and probably you can skip to answer this, but there's ambiguity,
Yeah.
you know, and where I believe where the ambiguity there is also a kind of, you know, not so. I mean, they're a bit less transparency, you know. So how you deal with it?
Honestly,
Is that the case?
The transparency, the genuinity of the transparency, there is always a limitation, to be honest, in terms of the government as well, the Indian government as well, you know. But very honest, I mean, actually, who is not very needy, I don't think they would take so much of travel to deduce a 3,000 euro annual tuition fees anyway. I mean, that's how
Makes
it
sense.
works.
Makes sense. And then also, it's also there is a certain kind of person who can afford and go.
Yes.
You know, and
I mean,
if I go
just
by the
imagine,
numbers,
would we, any of us, would fight for long to get to 3 offices? Because in India, paperwork are not easy.
It's not easy.
Would you take the travel to reduce 3,000 euros to 2,200? I don't think.
makes sense.
It makes no sense. So it's almost,
And also, it's if it boils down, you know, it's average down, wherein even if you're saving money a bit on tuition fee, but the, you know, your living expenses,
it
will be
is more or less a
same.
constant, no?
Yeah.
So it's more of a benefit of doubt, I would say, that way.
So if you have your uncle and aunts living there, then it's worth, you know, running pole to pole.
Yeah, probably, I don't know. Possible.
See, why we are coming from, you know, I deal with lots of students. I deal with students who are like, you know, like F-rich, and then I have a student who are like, genuinely, they are amazingly talented people, but if they've been sponsored or if they get these information, you know, this is so informative.
It's honestly to attract this kind of
Talent.
this kind of talents, to be honest.
Even
this
the kid I
pool
was
is
speaking
huge.
yesterday.
This pool is huge. You would know, Saurabh. You
Yeah.
meet so many students
Yeah,
even before they decide any country or any destination. This pool is huge. I mean, and they should be rewarded to a certain extent. I mean,
And I guess that's where Uni-Italia is playing so crucial role.
Yes, and the government is playing so much
which
of
I've
role.
not seen with. I mean, I'm not. Everyone has their plus and minuses, but I've not seen many counterparts, you know, going good so deep in helping students. I mean, they are education partners and many other agencies, but not lots of government supported institutions or organizations who are taking so much of pain to not only
because
promote
that's why we have, apart from the work I do is primarily like this, whatever I said, bilateral, etc. We have a dedicated team of people who actually work with students on a daily basis in terms of understanding their
How
need.
big is the team of Uni-Italia?
It's not a big team. Our team is only 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people.
That's a very lean team. That's a very effective team, I would say.
So it's just that. So they talk with students. They go to the fairs, to not only fairs, they go to the campuses to visit, to speak with them. So we keep this team dedicated to this only. I mean, to understand the students' need. You know also what happens, or such a big country of India. India is such a big country. Considering that, even you can reach with an official capacity probably up to tier 2 cities.
Yeah.
Tier 3 onwards is very difficult.
Yeah.
It's so unregulated.
I'll give you some numbers.
Yeah.
There are 40 million students in India who get ready for higher education every year.
Okay.
Even with the amazing progressive government.
Yeah.
You know, with so much of things happening for education system, with NEP coming in, with such a huge budgets they have just allocated in this the budgets, right? Still, we need 1,500 new universities in India to accommodate them.
Just imagine.
Just
imagine.
So yeah.
So it's very unregulated, and there probably across 4 tier 3 cities you find 3 students who can slightly afford to get out of it, immensely talented, but do not come from that much of money. So it's very difficult. How do we cater to them? And they should be catered to. I mean, it's a loss of talent for everybody.
Can I stop you here?
Yeah, sure.
Because when I met you and I interacted few times, like, you seem to be a very orthodox scholarist. Now I get to know why. Because you are actually getting value. I mean, I've been part of ecosystem, and I don't call myself an educator.
Yeah,
I'm a businessman into education, right? But what you guys have been doing is actually impacting real, students on the ground. So kudos, yaar. And I'm not saying it because you're on my podcast. And
I get it. Thank you. We hope we can maintain that. So I always tell this internally as well. Like, there's this team who are catering to students directly, the student counselors or however you call it. I do not actually like this word, student counselors, whatever, for the lack of a better term.
They are a term called agent also, which I hate.
It's even worse.
That's why I call education partners.
Education partners is much better.
Counselors, still I know, they are all kind of people.
We haven't been able to find a better word, unfortunately, but yeah, that's the case. But I always say this, they're the engine of the system. Okay, I go to fancy places, conferences. It's really good. It has impact everything in the overall basis to build narrative.
Yeah, you need to be popular. You need to make commercial movies.
Yes.
To make more substantial movies.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. So, it's like that. So, but yes, kudos to them because they are the engine. Of course, I believe that. Amazing. I do not know about an XYZ student probably coming from somewhere in Rajasthan. Honestly, I don't know, Saurabh. It's my limitation. In Rajasthan, I have only been to Jaipur. Not as an individual, in working capacity.
Uni-Italia,
with working capacity. But probably my colleague knows someone from Ajmer. Right? So that's how.
And that's where the ecosystem. Also, I understand the industry. There are people who talk about not that great things about education partners. But the fact is, if international education is so popular in India, and which is like probably second to none or second to China, it's all because of these people who've been working in the industry for like 30 years, 40 years.
Absolutely.
Yes, there are always some not so good fishes, but
it would always be there in everywhere. It's true.
Everywhere.
Sort of, you cannot help.
So let me come to my favorite topic, accommodation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what type of on-campus housing options are available? And you already touch upon something on accommodation, but if you can go deeper, and then we have one segment where we talk about technical know-how about what is required for a layman to apply for any good university in Italy, and how Uni-Italia can help. But before that, let's go deep in accommodation.
Okay. So accommodation, I told you, it's not always very regulated, to be honest. It's that's why when we first spoke, I got interested that if we can, since we cannot really take part in it in an official capacity because it's beyond our competence, so it would be great. I thought if we can assure some kind of gain trust of the students to a certain extent, because this also plays a role. We already discussed how much it may change a difference in terms of their decision making of dropping out even to that extent.
In fact, I'll again Baju here. So only 16% get universities accommodation across the globe, and in Italy that percent even less. Right. So and also there's 30% of or 30 to 40% of overall expenses a student spend on accommodation and post admission. This needs to be talked. It's
true. So this is the case. It's a little unregulated one that way. For biggest cities, it's easier to manage. It's easier to scan through because of the obvious things that people come there a lot. Rome is the capital.
There's still infrastructure.
Yes, Rome is the capital. Milan is the financial capital. Stuff like that. So it's true. However, for university towns, it's homely, yes, nice, yes, but to get someone, you to know someone on the ground, you have to be on the ground first, right? And you have to on the ground for a while. You cannot get it done from here. So if something can be assured beforehand, and probably the chances of many, sometimes there are many discrepancies in terms of contracts, the you do not get to track the owner, there is some kind of third party involved, the students get stuck. That is even worse, I would say, than doing a hotel accommodation for 1.5 months and seeing something for themselves. They go here with a contract in hand, and then they see, oh my god, it's actually not there. I mean, that's
I'm so glad that my team started Italy, because I was not very to be honest, I was not very very keen to go into Italy so deep, because if you see the numbers is not that big compared
numbers
to
are not that
right?
big. And you remember, if you remember in the first meeting we had, I told you it's a very different kind
It's
of
a different market. As you mentioned, it's not regulated.
It's not regulated. It's a different kind of market, and big cities are few. That's also a lot of differences. That makes a lot of difference.
No, glad. I mean, in fact, very excited that I only visit two or three times, right? And only three cities. Probably I will be going again, but super pumped, because I believe as a human being, where there are challenges, there is a bigger opportunity.
Absolutely.
So if it's unregulated, there is it's worth putting time and efforts.
Absolutely.
Because see, I don't know, you know the background, so when I went to Nottingham, I didn't get my housing, right? And that's what
that's
probably
the core idea of
Yeah.
everything that you did after
and
that.
same with Italy and or probably European countries. Why I got very excited, because it's pushed me beyond limits, because I understand it's not easy, right? But then if it's not easy, that doesn't mean it can't be done, right? And someone needs to get their hands dirty.
Absolutely.
So yeah, let's go back to so what kind of accommodation are there?
So there are accommodations. I'm not talking about the on-site on-campus accommodation. That is rare. Which is rare, but limited. Taken care of. If it's there, nothing like that. Then there comes accommodations where students who can afford a little more, they go for
PBSA.
Yes, or even
accommodation, housing.
Exactly, or even people do long-term Airbnbs, because in Europe Airbnb is a very good fashion, and it's very trustworthy as well, to be honest. I mean, you see real-time ratings, you see the credibility, the place exists, so it plays a role. But again, Saurabh.
But did you hear all kind of stories? Because see,
no, I'm talking about that. Airbnb is very rare, very rare. Firstly, number one, the association of Airbnb is primarily with travel. Number two, in Airbnb you cannot do booking like, okay, I booked this place, but I will bring 4 friends of mine and equally split. You cannot do that.
Right.
So you have to have certain sort of affordability to do Airbnb.
And also it's more temporary accommodation, and it's, if you're booking for a year, it will cost fortune.
Yeah, it will cost.
But it's a good temporary.
But honestly, thankfully, in Airbnb in Europe, in Italy at least, there are many places which are like houses, not hotels. So probably those are much affordable than hotels, or what we are thinking in terms of skyrocket. It's not like that. But yes, at the end of the day, you have to stay alone in an accommodation. You cannot share, which is a huge thing for students. The second thing that primarily works is there are groups. On every city there is a group, just like here we have Delhi flat and flatmates kind of. It's similar kind of thing, where you get many kinds of contacts, sometimes fruitful, sometimes not. You never know. The biggest problem is, even if I am a member in that group, not as a student, I am talking about them. I probably seeing them, I am seeing like, okay, I am sending you the photos, I am seeing the comment section, let's see, but I don't know what the outcome of it.
Are not,
I don't know. This XYZ student has commented on this listing, whether finally the student got to go there and how this thing is. So it's all vague. I'm seeing, probably there are multiple options that I'm seeing in these groups, to be honest. I'll be honest. It's not like, oh my god, where to stay. It's not like that. There are multiple options popping up every now and then.
But
what's the end result?
Authenticity and credibility.
Is the student finally going there? Is the student getting a contract? And these are not in our control. These are not in our competence. These are not our job either. So
That's where there's
we can only say
opportunity.
best of luck. Honestly,
That's where there's an opportunity for someone like us.
exactly.
It's not easy, but it's worth it.
It's worth it. I mean, probably 2 years down the line, we'd be in a much.
No, in fact, we've been doing Italy for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
In fact, we've been working with universities now.
Yeah.
Right, and then again, working with you guys.
Yeah.
I believe it's a symbol of what my team been doing on the ground.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
it's true, and again, it brings us much more security to every one of us.
Yeah,
Even a student
yeah.
while going, for example, for a visa or anything, with a proper arrangement of accommodation for the next 2 years, and like certain amount paid upfront, everything is on paper, clear, everything. There is someone like responsible. This is very important to find someone taking responsibility. Exactly. Someone taking responsibility of the contract, not the literal paper contract. I mean the whole understanding.
End-to-end.
Someone has to be cannot be guarantor, of course, staying outside the business, outside the geographical location, but at least some kind of assurance, like we have the back. That is very important.
And what if you want to share a kind of what is the cost of living? What
Okay,
what are different kind of room type?
I think so. What happens is you are probably already exploring the market, at least in Milan, Rome, these cities. So you have a fair idea how it works. So more or less we give an idea of 800 to 1,000 euro per month as you keep it with a shared accommodation. Sometimes you get a room to yourself, just a bedroom with a desk and a basic storage space. How student accommodation is, where you need to share your common space and kitchen and washroom with 3 others. They may not be students as well, but the household members as well. It could be varied. For other cities, it's cheaper. We have seen for university towns and even other cities, it's cheaper. It probably something around 600, 700 euros or even 500 euros if you are okay to share. Now, of course, there are many factors in these. Number one is the distance from the campus. Now, it's your business or your decision whether you want to spend that money on transport or on house. It depends. Also, closer to the campus houses, even if it's more expensive, it's always on demand. It feels fast.
Yeah.
So it's always, and those houses are easy to scan through, easy to get, right? Whereas, let's say, which is 35 minutes far from the campus, it's not easy for a.
It's a chicken and egg,
Yes, it's an international student who is going for the first time, let's say in Perugia, or Perugia is a small city, let's say in Bologna, and 35 minutes far from, it would be a little more challenging. So there, people like you could play a role like, okay, your limitation is only within the city limits, or not only city limits, 10 square kilometer across the campus. A student cannot go beyond that in terms of their research.
Especially they want to book it from here, which the trend is now.
Yes.
And especially with that study visa mandate.
Absolutely.
In fact, what I want to really change, and we are changing in UK and other countries, wherein there was a time when people used to book in August after they're getting visa. In here, it's anyway, so you need to apply before you get visa, but they are booking temporary, but there's a switch out cost.
Absolutely.
So one of our prerogative is that why you need to go there and book, and then there's a switch off cost. Like you go to a temporary accommodation.
We already said that parents are going and
with your bags.
Yeah.
Then you go to Uber, spend $100.
Absolutely.
Then from there again in 2 weeks you are looking, and God forbid if Airbnb doesn't work out well or hotel doesn't work out well. So these are cases which we are solving now. But
absolutely, and this will be a major milestone in terms of going to beyond that 10 square kilometer, because eventually students will come to you, not only in terms of price, but because they got delayed. They got their university confirmation later. Now they are not getting houses, and how people manipulate the demand.
Yeah.
So of course, so that's where, and students very honestly speaking, they do not mind traveling 30 minutes where the transport is very steady. In Italy, transport they don't. The transport is really good in Italy. Okay, you do the trains, you do the trams.
How is it expensive?
No, not at all. And you have even student cards, so it becomes even cheaper.
So let's say a visit to university and back to accommodation, which is like 5 to 10 minutes away. or 5 to 10 kilometer away? How
10
much
kilometers away, if you are going by train, well, let's say you will be spending around how much? Uh,
$3 to $5 or euro
uh,
per per one side?
Up and down 10 euros.
10 euros, yeah.
Not even 10, honestly. It's lesser than that.
It's probably 5 to 6
It's
euro.
5 to 6
Especially
euros.
when you take the monthly transport
it
passes.
boils down to that, honestly.
Yeah. So as I call, it is always a trade-off between price, location, room type. Then you are booking early versus you are booking late. You're booking short term, you're booking long term. In fact, there's a myth that people try to book short term, but they end up paying probably $200
Exactly.
or euro a month versus booking for a full
Long
year.
term, yeah.
It costs you €800. If you see, apple to apple, it costs you cheaper.
Absolutely.
That's where, but I understand where the students are coming. The trust, the trust, the flexibility that if they go there, if they don't find nicely or what they see, then they have the option to opt out.
Absolutely.
So those flexibility is what we are adding.
That is needed. Also, that again adds another point of like trust.
Trust.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, let's say I'm convinced about Italy, or I'm like fascinated about Italy, right? Let's say now I need to send my younger sister to one of the universities in Italy. How one should prepare for it, how early one should prepare for it, and what are the, like, let's say, language proficiency tests, degrees or timelines, if you can run through that.
Okay, so fortunately, unlike many countries, we do not need to like prepare for 2 years back.
Okay.
So primarily we have September, October intake, which we call fall intake. Though, as I mentioned with AFAM institutes, fine art design, they have multiple intakes and flexibilities. Some design schools have a January intake as well, but I'm not talking about those. More or less, let's keep September, October, the fall intake as the primary intake we have annually. So for this, preparation starts a year back, not more than that, okay, at max. So I'm giving you a quick timeline of things. So maybe November, December, January, February, March. These are 4-5 months when the universities one after another start opening up their application portal. For bachelors, there usually is entrance test. Sometimes the universities have entrance test of their own. Sometimes there is another entrance test in terms of, say, for example, subject test you need to take, and on the basis of your academic marks and credits, your letter of motivation, which is close to SOP but a little different, and your CV overall. For undergrad, CV doesn't play a huge role, and the score card of this exam. There is an exam called TOLC, which is primarily for undergrad programs. You have to take this test, and you have to.
Everyone?
Yes, almost.
So this is
there is a TOLC E, TOLC I, it's depending on engineering management like this. That's a different discourse altogether. I'm not going deep into it.
But this is undergrad you mentioned.
I'm talking about people who are going for undergrad after completion their school. So that's how it is. And this TOLC exam, you can take it from home. You have to get a score. The way you do, let's say, IELTS, but it's not a language proficiency test, but I'm talking about the
it's a subject.
I'm talking general plus subject. It's not a language
aptitude.
Kind of thing. The format is why I said IELTS, because you take your score and it will be one of the parameters in terms of evaluation of your candidature, along with your 12th grade, your other couple of things as I mentioned. For masters, primarily there is no entrance test. On the basis of your graduation's course and your credit and everything, and letter of motivation plays a huge role here, and of course, last but not the least, your CV plays a role. On the basis of these 3-4 things, evaluation happens, and the universities judge, gauge, evaluate the curriculum, credibility and everything, and they have their autonomy to choose the candidate. That's how it works. And the applications portal open around this time, as I mentioned. Once this happens, the students apply through these procedures, and then they get through, let's say, 2-3 universities. Now you have to pick one.
You can apply how many?
As many as you can. There is
Okay, there's no cap.
no.
But generally, what on average people apply 2, 3.
4, 5 as well. Depends.
Okay.
Now, once you get through one university, there is a process which is very important called pre-enrollment. Okay, there is a portal which is a page by the ministry which is called Universitali. It's very easy. University plus Italy, Universitali, where you have to do pre-enrollment.
How do you spell it?
University plus Italy, Universitali. That's it. Okay. So there you have to do pre-enrollment. Our Uni-Italia team helps that proactively students doing pre-enrollment fill up. Here you confirm with certain details like passport numbers, course, everything, and the university finally you are choosing. And this document is very important because this document will remain with you throughout the time up till your visa. Okay, even after getting the visa.
It's like a CAS letter or COV.
Yeah, it's kind of that.
I-20.
You need your university confirmation letter, yes. Alongside with that, you need this pre-enrollment summary.
What do you call it?
Pre-enrollment summary. After you fill this up, a couple of weeks later, you will get back the pre-enrollment summary. You have to submit it at the time of visa. Once pre-enrollment is done, then you prepare for certain paperworks. Okay. I'm not going to the details of the technical terms. There are legalization DOV, which is a major process for majority of the universities. They ask for that.
Income proof.
No, not right now. So DOV is primarily academic proof, which is basically validation and accreditation of the academic Indian academic degree in the Italian format, how it would look, and on the basis of that evaluation happens, and then you apply for visa. During the time of visa, you have to submit all of this pre-enrollment summary, DOV, and of course the financial things. You have to have your admission letter in hand. Accommodation plays here a role, as we already mentioned. Your flight tickets, your insurance coverage, your course duration, what are the understanding of things, and visa cover letter and sponsorship letter. These two are also very important.
Sponsorship letter comes from?
Sponsorship letter comes from who is the person
Guardian.
who is going to be the primary sponsor. Here in our case, only parents can be the sponsor. The student themselves or the parents.
Not even their grandparents?
No.
But in each case, let's say if they don't have parents, then grandparents can work.
Yeah, that's a very
exception.
Need exceptionally. Yeah, there are cases, but ideally that is the. So this phase works stage by stage. Let's say after March you do pre-enrollment, then you do DOV in April, May or June. Then you ideally should apply for your visa around the month of July, so that you have ample time and you can fly safe in September. I personally suggest students you fly at least 2 weeks prior to your classes begin to settle down. So that is the ideal timeline. So that's how the journey starts from, and that's why in fact in October, November, around the time when the new window will open or are opening, around that time we try to promote Italian higher education as much possible across the country through fairs and everything.
Tell me more about that. It's like a roadshow?
It's kind of a we keep doing many events across the time, but we keep one time of the year fixed, which is October/November, where we do an annual festival, fair, however you call it. It's called Aidohe, which is a short form of Italian Days on Higher Education. This time this is happening in October 18 in Delhi and 21 in Bangalore. Unfortunately, we have to restrict into two cities only because delegates keep traveling, where we try to invite as many universities as possible. But also the thing is, there are limitations in terms of universities. They are also traveling to across the globe around places. So usually we host, last time we also hosted around 15-16 universities, which is a very rare thing in an Indian scenario. Only exclusive 16 or 15 Italian universities on the same go. Of course, we have conferences and talks and everything. That is primary. That is part one, and part two is opening up to the whole thing as a fair model to all students. Like they can pre-register or they can walk in. Sometimes even very nice of them, few professors across universities have or schools, teachers, they brought their students in bus in groups to as a fun day celebration kind of thing. So that's what we do, and we do it in this time.
And undergrad student comes?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. School students, undergrad students, everyone come. And we also many delegates, professors come who cannot travel with their students. For example, they as delegates, Dean of International Affairs, for example, from a different state can fly. Students cannot. So they come on behalf of their universities or schools to speak, to meet, and it's a very nice.
So it's a one day.
It's a
per
one
city?
day city. Yes, 18th October is it's gonna be happening in Delhi, inside the embassy. This is the first time we are doing inside the embassy. Usually we do in hotels, but
nice.
yes, and 21st of October we are doing in Bangalore. It's in a hotel. So we are hosting. But we haven't yet got confirmation of all the universities. Till now, 9 have already confirmed, so that's pretty good. And we are looking
And they are
for.
best universities.
So all
Yeah,
Italian
public
universities,
best
everything we try to cover as much as possible. Last year we had like 15-16 universities. We have every possible combination, like
Subjects,
6-7 universities, 6-7 AFAM. So 3 of them management schools, 2 of them design schools, like this, as much as diversity as possible. So that's how we do it, so that students do not need to come very early and say, and they forget everything. So they meet them in October and they start application in November, December. So we be with them there from the very beginning to the end. That's the goal, apart from the obvious events and things we keep doing in other time of the years as well. So that's different, but this is something we do it constantly.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. So anyone who's watching, and I know many of you are watching. So if you're looking for more open days for Italy education, probably 18 October in Delhi, 21st October in Bangalore, and you will get a chance to visit embassy. So that could be a good motivation. And so last part. I know I've taken lots of your time. So thank you so much. What kind of policies or initiative Italian government and Indian government is taking together, and especially with there are a good diplomatic ties between Indian and Italian government, including prime ministers. We all been seeing videos on Insta.
That's famous hashtags and all of that.
So what are those initiatives which government are taking together? Also, what are the challenges you face, and what are the opportunities or initiatives, or probably insights you want to share?
Okay, so a lot depends on, in terms of beyond academics, and also academics, a lot depends on the bilateral mission and the bilateral understanding, to be honest. And it plays a major role, though it seems like some political understanding on paper, but it has a real reflection, and very quick real reflection as well. So for example, recently thanks to the G20, India became host, and right now this year G7 is happening, where Italy is the host country at the moment. So thanks to all of these, and with a very constant collaboration with the UGC and the Indian universities as a whole, we are seeing a shift, not only from just students applying as independent individuals to Italy, which is really great, which is growing as well. But at the same time, we are seeing a lot of B2B collaborations between university to university. So right now, there are so many Indian universities, and even last year we signed 4 or 5 MOUs in across India. So it's pretty growing fast. The queries from the Italian counterpart that we keep getting, their interest growing in terms of locating Indian universities is really good, and also it helps in terms of some kind of quality assurance, I would say. So the B2B connection becoming great is a fair reflection of how the journey would be smooth. So right now with India and Italy, there are around 265 MOUs, collaborations, direct academic collaborations. So it is a fair reflection of things, how smooth the journey could be, even for students who are not applying by themselves and doing everything from scratch, researching and everything. So bunch of students who are going, let's say 5 students from one campus going for 1 semester or 2 semester. It's great.
It's a good way to promote culture.
It's
and also
great
probably
win-win.
Those 5 students are gonna come and tell to 50 people. And
exactly.
And I guess one thing which I have seen, the way Italian education system is promoting in India, it's very organic.
Absolutely. It's very organic. Let me tell you, you picked a very good point, in fact. So that's how it is. So it automatically, if the narrative of Italy, and that the sheer statement that we are here to host you, to welcome you, it creates a lot of difference. It brings a lot of changes. Number one is this. So 5 students coming back, they say wonderful things, they usually say. That will automatically end up leading to another MOU happening, or the next 5 years 10 students going each, and beyond those MOUs, direct B2B, 5 students would be interested themselves to apply as independent individuals. That plays a role. Simultaneously, we have started launching Italian language classes with the help of Italian Institute of Culture, which is the embassy's cultural wing, in a couple of campuses. And the curiosity of among the Indian campuses in terms of launching Italian language classes is increasing, and it is a great value added to the overall ecosystem, to be honest. So the language won't do anything, to be honest, but the curiosity will increase, and that's how it is. And it goes beyond the stereotypes. Affinity with the language doesn't need doesn't need to speak the language fluently. It's just the affinity with the country. It automatically is a license, as a gate pass towards the country. So that's how the overall ecosystem works, and the Indian universities are showing a lot of interest in terms of hosting Italian professors to do Italian language classes, which is rare. You do not find many people speaking Italian in the market. It's very rare. French, Spanish people do speak, but Italian very few. So it's a very good yes, it's a very good leap in camaraderie, I would say. And it gets reflected from on a very higher level, on the diplomatic bilateral level, to very grassroots level, where students are actually showing interest that yes, we want to enlist 15 students saying that we want to start learning Italian as an extracurricular or curricular. It's a great thing.
Great, Arko. And I guess I got your name right now.
Yes.
In couple of times I spelled Arko,
It's
so
okay,
I got it right.
But you have done better than
Quick
most.
learner. Yeah. So that's it. Thank you so much for your time. We didn't realize we have spent 3 hours. And I'm sure we're hungry now.
Yes.
Let's have
and
lunch.
thank you again for hosting. It didn't feel like a studio setup podcast. It felt like a conversation. That's really good.
And that too a long conversation.
Yeah, long conversation. It was anyway due, probably. We were always thinking that we had to meet and speak. So it was great. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So that's about it, guys. I hope we created value. I know these are detailed discussions. At times it might get very boring, but the idea is to go deep. Idea is to create something which is just not reels and Insta and superficial content, because for that there are many influencers. So I don't want to be influencer. In fact, I want to be a de-influencer. Wherein I want to demyth or debunk the myths. Around going abroad, around you need to learn Italy to go to, or Italian to go to Italy, right? So idea, I guess I'm not concerned about clickbaits. I'm not concerned about how many people are viewing it, but I'm concerned even if one person have spent some time and they can see and drive value out of these discussions, I will be more than happy. So thank you everyone. Probably for next time. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.